You may not be aware, but I actually made my own Iceberg for Super Mario 64 DS, I think last year or maybe 2 years ago from when this video is made. If you don't know what an iceberg is, it is basically an image of trivia for a video game or any topic whatsoever. And the idea is that what you see is just the tip of the iceberg, and there's a lot more hidden underneath. And often this trivia gets more obscure, more dark, and more fantastical as you get deeper and deeper and deeper. And I made one for Mario 64 DS because I have a good history with Super Mario 64 DS. My channel in the early days was based a lot around the huge rumors of Waluigi being hidden in Super Mario 64, and so a lot of this iceberg that I made was dedicated to Waluigi, or a lot of points on the iceberg is about Waluigi in some way. But I thought it would be fun to go through this iceberg that I made and explain it, talk about it, make an iceberg video for all of you that I haven't done before, and see what obscure things that are hidden and possibly hidden in Super Mario 64 DS. Grab a snack, grab some hot beverage if you have, get cozy, get comfy, and we're gonna talk about a bit of Super Mario 64 trivia and mysteries. Black bricks. Black bricks refers to the obstacles in the game that are only destructible by Wario. All of the 4 characters have their own abilities and stats and so on, and unfortunately Wario has maybe the worst of them, but one of his unique traits is the ability to break the black bricks that is found throughout the game that the other characters cannot. Silver stars. Silver stars is a new type of collectible introduced in the DS version of Super Mario 64. It is kind of similar to red coins, where you have to collect all silver stars in order for a power star to spawn. And if you take a damage of some kind, you drop a silver star and you have to collect it before it starts to bounce away. And when you collect all of them, a power star will spawn in a little container for you to grab. Character paintings. In Super Mario 64 DS, you start with Yoshi only. The other characters are captured and trapped by Bowser inside of the castle, and the way to unlock them is to find the respective characters' portraits or painting, which takes you, just like the other paintings in the game, to a unique stage, to a unique level with a unique boss fight, where you have to defeat the boss, get the character's key, and thus be able to unlock the character afterwards. New bonus courses. Even though Super Mario 64 DS doesn't feature any brand new full courses, with a full set of power stars to collect, there are a handful of new bonus courses, often with a single power star or maybe 2, including the character painting courses that I talked about, where there also is a boss fight and often a power star or 2 to collect. Mario's second power flower ability. In the original game, you had 3 different power-up boxes for a wing cap, a metal cap, and an invisibility cap. In the DS remake, this has been changed. To now there is only a power flower, which gives each character a unique ability. So the metal ability has been given to Wario through the power flower, and similarly, Luigi gets invisible, and Yoshi spits fire, which is a new ability, and Mario, well, he has 2 different ones. The power flower gives Mario a ability where he blows up like a balloon and float upwards, but in some cases, in some places, he gets a wing cap instead. And this is unique to Mario. The other characters don't get a wing cap. So Mario, for some reason, is the only one who exclusively get 2 different abilities from these red question mark boxes. Character stats. The 4 characters actually play act differently from each other. As I said, they have different abilities, but that is not all of it. They also have different stats. For example, Wario is the most powerful one, and if he knocks Goombas or other enemies away, they will fly pretty far. I don't know if this is very helpful against enemies such as this, but against bullies, for example, which you have to knock into lava to defeat them, then Wario is very useful. And just like this, all characters play a bit differently, and so some stars can be collected by any character, but many stars are exclusive to one of the 4 ones, due to the star being locked behind an ability or a stat or a Power Flower ability. Waluigi. The biggest rumor of Super Mario 64 DS was, of course, back in the day that Waluigi was a playable character. There were multiple reasons for this, which we will get back into a little further down on the iceberg. But just like Luigi was rumored to be in the original game, Waluigi was rumored to be here, especially since we had 3 of the 4 brothers. But there were many hints, as we interpreted them, in the game that we thought could relate to Waluigi being a hidden character somehow. If he was planned at one point, we don't really know, because we know Luigi was planned for the original, but in this case we don't really know if Waluigi ever was considered or not. Mega Mushroom in Chief Chili Fight. For some strange reason, if you keep punching and attacking the Chief Chili, which is the boss you defeat in order to unlock Wario, he will start dropping coins, and if you do this enough times, he will drop a Mega Mushroom, which makes you big. We don't really know why this is the case, but most likely it is a little handicap, a little boost, that if you really struggle with this fight and just cannot seem to knock him into the water, then the Mega Mushroom is probably there as a safety measure, that if you spend too much time and attacking too many times, the game knows that you are struggling, and so you get a little help. Most likely that is the case. That is the reason why. Silver Rabbits. After you are collected enough power stars throughout the game, then glowing silver rabbits will start to spawn throughout the castle. And if you collect all of them, you are awarded the key that goes to the white door in the character selecting room, which grants you a power star. It is strange that this is how you unlock the 4th door in a room that is specifically made to host characters, and that it is the door that is next to Wario. It is asymmetrical and weird, and you would assume logically that this door would belong to Waluigi, but it doesn't. It belongs to a power star, and that's where the white glowing silver rabbits come in. Touchscreen controls. If you use the normal D-pad on the DS, the game is programmed to only be able to move in 8 directions. It works, but it doesn't give you full analog 360 controls. But using the touchscreen, you're actually able to move in a more analog way, similar to a joystick. It is uncomfortable for many to play with the touchscreen, but it is there if you want to. And mods on PC has actually managed to convert the touchscreen controls into analog joystick controls. So that is something to check out if you are interested. Waluigi symbols hidden throughout the game. This is one that I personally looked at a lot as a kid, and I interpreted different things throughout the game as hints towards Waluigi being playable. For example, the hedges outside of the castle seem to be shaped in a similar way to L's, or, if you look at it from a certain angle, upside down L's, aka the symbol of Waluigi. Another thing is that in the rec room, where you unlock and play the minigames, there are 4 different colors. Red, which can be seen as belonging to Mario, green for Luigi and Yoshi, yellow for Wario, but also purple, a purple color for a character that isn't there. There are also 4 different colors on the menu buttons on the title screen: red, green, yellow, and purple. And so these symbols were interpreted by some people, at least by me, as potential hints that purple must belong to someone, to something, just like the other colors are conveniently the same as the playable characters we already have. And naturally, I concluded with Waluigi. Unused multiplayer features. This refers to beta screenshots and some beta footage where we see the characters in a 4-player gameplay flying around with wing caps and being in a Bowser fight and being in these scenarios that we don't see in the final game. So most likely the multiplayer for Super Mario 64 DS, especially since the game was originally titled Super Mario 64 x 4, was supposed to be much bigger, be more of a core feature of the game. Maybe they got too ambitious, maybe it was too hard to program, and maybe it was time restrictions that caught up to them. We don't really know, but what we do know is that the multiplayer was planned at some point to be something much more than we got in the final game. Luigi's painting is a hidden section of the Boo Mansion. This was a theory of mine, and not much of a fact, just a hypothetical theory. The theory was that the place you get to when you jump into Luigi's painting is actually not a different reality, a different universe, a different level, but rather just a different hidden section of the Boo Mansion itself. Because Luigi's painting is actually found within a level, unlike the other ones. It is found within Big Boo's haunt. And because the interior and the design of Luigi's level is the same as Big Boo's haunt, I consider the theory that this was actually a part of the physical mansion itself. A hidden place that we hadn't seen before. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. That's, I guess that's up to us to decide for ourselves. Korean version. The Korean version of Super Mario 64 DS actually has removed all form of gambling associations, which includes Luigi's casino minigames. It is an interesting kind of censored version of the game that maybe has more differences that I'm aware of, but I remember when I made this Iceberg that I was referring to the censored casino and gambling references that the minigames of Luigi had. Really loves me? Not. One of the minigames is Yoshi playing the classic game that maybe some of us has played as children, where you pick the petals of a flower, and for each one you say loves me not. And you can get two different outcomes, of course, being loves me or loves me not, but there are also alternate messages you can get as well. And one of them is really loves me not. Red Koopa. This refers to an unused enemy of the game only seen in some screenshots, and I'm not sure if this can be still summoned in the game through hacks, but it was an unused enemy, or at least an unused skin for a Koopa, which for some reason was scrapped. It was not in the original version either, so we don't really know what her plans for the Red Koopa was with the DS version. 2D black box. One of the biggest mysteries of Super Mario 64 DS is the little black box known as the 2D black box that you can see on the file select screen of Super Mario 64 DS. It is found on the right side of the castle, on one of the towers or one of the pillars, and it has always been speculated what this is, or what this was. It seemed to be a hole, an entrance into this part of the castle, but it is nowhere to be found within actual gameplay. And so that of course sparked a lot of theories, a lot of mysteries. Maybe this was related to Waluigi's unlock method. Maybe you had to blast yourself here with a cannon to break open the part of the wall and get inside to a secret section, and so on. And to this day, we still don't know what the 2D black box really was. Debug character boxes. It is basically a set of boxes with the different characters' letters on them and their own colors that is found within the debug levels of Super Mario 64 DS. There's a lot of other interesting things in the debug stuff here as well that you can check out if you're interested. Fifth minigame, category space. This was another one of the many Waluigi-related rumors that at least I was very interested in as a kid. In the minigame category, there is space on both sides for buttons, but there is a empty space in the top right corner that seemed to be perfectly sized for another character portrait or another character minigame category. Waluigi's? Maybe. There was at least a conveniently placed empty space there. And it seemed to be there to be filled by something, some kind of button, which would fit perfectly if Waluigi turned out to be a character with his own minigames attached to him. Jolly Roger's Bay painting. This refers to how the painting of Jolly Roger Bay was changed from the 64 version. In the 64 version, the painting was showcasing the ship of Jolly Roger Bay, but this, as you see here, is the one found in the DS remake. Why exactly this was changed? We don't really know, but it probably was simply due to them thinking this was a more fitting picture for the Jolly Roger Bay painting. Purple Rabbit. The Purple Rabbit is seemingly something that is found within the game's manual. On the page that showcases and talks about the rabbits throughout the game, there is a compressed, low-quality image of a rabbit that seems to be purple. Now, we don't know if this is just due to image compression or what it is. It could be. Maybe this is really a pink-red rabbit for Mario that looks purple due to the printing or the compression, but it looks purple the way it came out. And that is strange. Another one of the many mysteries surrounding the huge rabbit hole that is Waluigi. Fourth character door. This is what I talked about earlier when it came to the silver rabbits. In the room where you choose the character to play and you unlock the characters as well, the room is perfectly split in two. You have Mario and Luigi on the left, and Wario and a white door on the right, which seems strange. If you have the Mario brothers on the left, it makes perfect sense that the Wario brothers are on the right. And so the theory has always been, by many people, that this door was either supposed to be Waluigi's door at one point in development, or that it still was and would turn into Waluigi's door after some requirements had been met. But it did not turn out to be true, but you can understand the logic behind it, I'm sure. Backlight. This is a feature I still don't understand to this day. It was a feature in the options menu of this game, where if you clicked it, the backlight of the DS would turn off and the screen would go completely black. I don't know what the purpose of this feature was. I never learned it. Because all it really did was to turn the screen completely black where you couldn't see anything. So to this day, I'm still not sure what this feature was supposed to be. Bowser painting. This refers to the painting of Bowser in the corridor that was changed from the original game to what we have now. That was more of a painting in the original, but more of a 3D model image in the newest game. Original Princess Secret Slide Room. The room where you select your character is also the room where you enter the Princess's Secret Slide bonus stage. And this one has a weird beta version of itself that looks very weird. It doesn't have the character doors, and the textures on the wall are very strange and weird. This was most likely a leftover from the original game before the character doors were added in. Most likely. all characters with wing cap. This is what I talked a bit about earlier, but in beta screenshots, we can see that all 4 characters are using the wing cap. And so this has either been an unused feature of the multiplayer mode, or that the multiplayer mode was generally supposed to be much bigger, where maybe you could do the whole campaign with all 4 characters, with all 4 players at the same time. Bowser Star Select screen. An unused graphic is a Bowser icon that seems to be the same style of the Star Select screen images. And where this would be used is hard to say, but maybe at one point in development, the idea was to have the Bowser courses be expanded to be properly fully fledged star courses, and so this was left on a cutting room floor. Perhaps. It's hard to say. Wario is from a parallel dimension. I made this point on the iceberg as a reference to Wario being unlocked behind the mirror in the mirror room. And since you can actually go into the mirror using an invisibility flower using Luigi, I've always found this very strange, how you can actually go into the mirror. Is the mirror a parallel universe, an alternate dimension? What is it? A mirror dimension of some sort? And if you unlock Wario there, what does that say about Wario himself? Is the mirror a mirror dimension and Wario comes from there in this game? Who knows? Ally with info. This refers to a toad in the second floor of the castle that talks about an ally with info in the mirror room, but there are no one in there to tell you anything. The room is empty of characters to give you any sort of info at all. So who is this referring to? Who are we talking about here? Who is this ally, this mysterious character that we don't find? Maybe it is the power flower itself. Maybe it is Wario in the painting. Maybe it is Luigi in the unmirrored painting. I don't really know for sure, but it is mysterious indeed. Purple Prices. Purple Prices was an April Fool image that was posted in the early 2000s, I think, or mid 2000s, not too long after the game released, and it looked extremely convincing. It was an April Fool article of how to properly unlock Waluigi, and the models, the images, the descriptions, all of it looked and sounded so legit that it fooled a lot of people. It was a really, really good April Fool's joke, a really well-made quality April Fool's. That did indeed trick a lot of people, myself included. Mario-less ending. The game can be beaten without unlocking Mario. I cannot remember for sure if this was only possible through bugs or glitches, or if you actually can get to the ending properly without unlocking Mario ever. And if so, the ending cutscene is a bit buggy, is a bit weird, but it is possible to achieve somehow. This is the Mario-less ending. Negative world. This comes from actually me personally and my interactions with a mysterious user back in the day who claimed to have unlocked Waluigi, which we will get back to shortly. But among those details that he posted and gave me was the negative world, which was apparently a place you reached through the mirror and a white door in the mirror dimension, which took you to the negative world, where you would eventually find and unlock Waluigi's key. Flooded castle grounds. One of the many hoax images surrounding the many mysteries of Super Mario 64 DS back in the day was an image of Waluigi swimming in the castle grounds. And so this has spawned a lot of legends and myths that the way of unlocking Waluigi involves flooding the castle grounds. And I can't remember where it was I read this, but there are stories and, urban legends of a hidden door being in the Peach's huge glass window outside of the castle, or some other hidden entrance. But It would eventually lead to the castle grounds being flooded and Waluigi being unlocked. A bit of an eerie mystery, if you ask me. I can't remember why, but I found the whole thing a bit unsettling, especially the image that came with it. Super Mario 64 DS is a prequel. This was a theory I had personally and played around with, that Super Mario 64 is the last game of the two to happen chronologically, and that the DS version is what happens first, because that makes the second one a bit more eerie. Where are the rest of the cast? Where is Wario and Luigi in the second game? And what interesting theories and stories can we take out of this if we imagine that the first game are events that Mario has done before, that he's doing them again, going through these levels again, just like he and his crew has done before. The Rabbit King. The Rabbit King is a figure, a mythical figure that is both referenced in the Purple Prices image as well as in various forums back in the day, which all related to Waluigi, and that the Rabbit King was the boss that you had to defeat in order to get Waluigi's key. And so the Rabbit King has become a bit of a mythical figure in the land of Super Mario 64 DS mysteries. Castle Grounds, Canon, True Purpose. This was even a mystery from back in the day of the original game, where me, my brothers, and I know many other people were very curious about the cannon outside of the castle. Yes, you could shoot yourself up on the castle's roof with it, but then what? There was a wing cap up there? What could you do with it? Were you supposed to fly somewhere secret to find some secret area or final reward of some kind? Were you supposed to use the cannon to launch yourself into the glass-stained window of Peach? What was really the purpose of the cannon, really? Because just getting to the castle roof was a nice bonus, but at the same time, it seemed a bit lacking, especially since that locked-off cannon was just sitting there from the very beginning, teasing you and launching itself into the back of your mind from the very beginning, that at some point this one will unlock, this cannon will be accessible. So it has to be something special, right? And so just getting to the roof of the castle, it didn't seem like enough. There were a lot of mysteries and questions and speculations around, could there be more? Maybe. Beta Bowser Room. This again talks about a beta screenshot from Mario 64 DS, where we see our characters in a strange square-formed room. It seems like some kind of a basement cellar of some kind, where they are fighting Bowser. There are no spiked balls around they can throw him into. It seems to just be a simple square room. And that makes you wonder, what was this room's purpose? Where did you fight Bowser in this way? How did you access this place, and what was the purpose of this place? It's very interesting to think about when you look at this today. Behind the mirror door. As I mentioned, you can enter the mirror using Luigi's invisibility cap. But what happens if you enter the door inside the mirror dimension? Well, you get to a completely white room. A white void. Literally. There is a power star there, so there is that. But the fact that it is just a completely empty white void is honestly unsettling. It is creepy. Does this place exist? Is it just the room itself behind the mirror which exists in this mirror dimension? Is this white void kind of the out of bounds of this world? It is honestly an unsettling and eerie thing to this day. The door behind the mirror. Arceus 2401. This is the one you maybe have been waiting for. Arceus 2401 was one that sent me a message when YouTube still had direct message support back in the day. in the very early days of my YouTube channel. He sent me messages claiming he had unlocked Waluigi. And he was clearly from a foreign country because he didn't really write English very well. So sometimes it was hard to understand exactly what he meant. But the gist of it was that he had unlocked Waluigi. He came with unlock steps in how to do it, very detailed, very specific. And of course, even my young naive self didn't fully believe this. So I asked for image proof, and lo and behold, he sent me images. He sent me images of this negative world, which I talked about. He sent me images of a Waluigi door. And he sent me images of a piranha plant boss fight. This made the young me instantly believe that this was real and legit. And so I made several videos on this topic. Arceus2401 disappeared. I lost contact with him shortly after. And since that day, I really wonder who he was, what he's doing today. If this was a really fun prank and hoax that he made just for the fun of it to spark some speculation among people, which is most likely the case. And the creepy thing is that if you search up Arceus2401 today on Google, I believe you don't find a lot, but you find some unsettling images and creepy images, which really adds to the whole mythology of this user, of this mysterious user who provided these images of Waluigi in Super Mario 64 DS. Castle Grounds Floating Island. This refers to an image and a short clip of Super Mario 64 DS's multiplayer in the beta, where you can briefly see that there's an island floating above the castle grounds. You can't see how tall it is, you can't see what is above it, you can only see the bottom of this floating platform, of this floating island. And it makes you wonder what this floating island was. Was it just a place you could reach with a wing cap to get a power flower or a mega mushroom or some coins or whatever? Or was it something more? Just the fact that there is this island that we never really see the content of in the castle grounds itself is very interesting. And I've never really heard anyone talk about it before. Super Mario 64 DS features the original castle. This was kind of an extension of my theory that 64 DS is a prequel, and also a little play into the original Iceberg's Plexus internal castle Plexus mythology, that the castle itself is alive and much bigger, much deeper than we think. And this theory of mine that I just came up with and really enjoyed, gave me an unsettling feeling, was that the castles in the two games are not the same. They look the same, they are similar, but they are not the same castle. Because the DS version has rooms that are not featured in 64. The Peach's Secret Slide room, as I said, is different because it has these character doors, and there's even a door inside of that again, which is the rec room, and a door inside of that again, which leads to the Mario's painting room and a little balcony. And there are things like this that are not in the original 64. And then it is fun to think about, could it be because the castles are different? Are they parallel universes? Or was one destroyed and rebuilt? Or what could be the hypothetical in-universe reason for the castles being different? And if they are different castles, then why? What is the reason for that? That is something you can chew a bit on and make up some theories surrounding, especially if you grow in and take in the whole mythology of the internal castle Plexus from the original game. Is perhaps the castle of 64 DS one of the rooms or sections in the depths of the original Plexus itself. Who knows? This has been the Iceberg that I made for Super Mario 64 DS a couple of years ago, I think. It was really fun to kind of look back at the mysteries of this game and the urban legends of this game, and to also add in a bit of my own theories and hypothetical mysteries that I played around with in my mind, and make this into a mysterious iceberg of a game that I had a close relationship with and a lot of history with. If you have any questions about it, you can ask them in the comments below, of course, or if you have anything you want to add onto it or any other details that you find interesting, please let me know. This has been Triple Wario. I really hope you enjoyed this video. If so, please drop a like. That will really help my channel, this video, and consider subscribing if you find my videos interesting. Check out my channel if you're unsure. Have a good day, and I'll see you on the next video.